Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. We're in the middle of an 8-part series about building $1 million business. We've gone through building a small audience, your launch, and getting the first $10,000 in sales. And today we're at step 4. Step 4 is about building 100 reviews. If you get this part right, you can suck at just about everything else and still have a shot at building $1 million business, or at least having $1,000 a day in sales. My process is about turning a sale into a review, into a raving fan, sharing that review with the world, and getting that raving fan to share my product with their world. And so we can milk every review to be a thing that builds the business long term. If you skip this step, you will be jumping from product launch to product launch, and you will never get beyond the grind of building those first initial sales. If you're new here, my name is Ryan Daniel Moran. I help entrepreneurs build $1 million businesses by getting to 100 sales a day. This is an 8-part series on getting to 100 sales a day. The whole process takes about 12 months, and this is step 4. Step 3 was about launching the product. And this is where you get the dopamine hit of the decade. It's when you get sales out of the gate, you have people who have been waiting for your product, and you take sales. A lot of our clients get $10,000 in sales right out of the gate within their first 30 to 45 days. And then crickets. This is the part where a lot of people give up because they get this big surge of sales out of the gate, and then they wonder, what the heck do I do now? I'm not getting the glorious momentum that comes from this big surge of sales. And the trap that some entrepreneurs will fall into is thinking that that surge of sales is only going to continue forever and ever, amen. Or even worse, they associate the big surge in sales with a launch. So they live from launch to launch to launch, and they never build the foundation of a business that takes sales whether they're working or not. That's why this step in the process is so important. But it looks a lot like work. It looks a lot like getting your fingernails dirty and doing the work that most entrepreneurs do not want to do. A lot of entrepreneurs will ask the question at this stage in the process, how do I get to 25 sales a day as fast as possible? Because we all know that if you have 4 products at 25 sales a day, that's 100 sales a day. At a $30 price point, that is $1 million business. And you can get there within about a year's time. However, if you skip this part of the process, you will jump from idea to idea, tactic to tactic, product to product, and you will wonder, do I have product market fit? Is this the product that is going to take me to the promised land? Or do I need to pursue some new strategy that guy on Instagram said was taking him to a multi-million-dollar business? You will always be pulled from different ideas and different distractions that keep you from this work. And this work is getting the first 100 reviews. This step in the process is the chopping wood. The tree will fall over as fast as you chop, or it will just stay there if you chop a little bit every single day. No analogy's perfect, but we're going with it. This is the actual work that you show up and you control. You control how many reviews you get. You can't control where Amazon places you in their search algorithm. You can't control how much free attention you get on YouTube. You can't even control the social media algorithms, but you can absolutely control how many reviews you get. And you do that by creating real, genuine connection with your customers and asking for the review. And there's some other ninja magic that we're gonna sprinkle into the strategy, but I want you to know up front that this is the part of the process that you can control. You can sprint your way through this. You can ask your friends for reviews. You can ask your family for reviews. You can post on social media. You can talk to your customers. You can order pizza every day and ask the delivery man to leave a review. I do have a business partner who every time we go out to dinner asks the waiter or waitress to buy his product on Amazon and leave a review. Like he's just always in the grind on this process. But you can also build a system for getting regular reviews. That's the best way. But however you do it, you can't really move on until you've got 100 reviews on your first product. Here's why. If you spend 5 minutes or more on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, or reading business newsletters, you will hear 1,000 different strategies about how to grow your business. Most of them work, but none of them can work until they're built on a foundation of social proof. Other people who have said, this product is good. This product worked for me. I'm happy with my experience. Until you have that base of reviews, All other strategies are going to struggle. If you have a viral video that gets 5 million views and sends 100,000 people to your sales page, you might get some sales. And you might even think that the way to grow your business is to create viral content. That's not a bad strategy. But if you have at least 100 reviews and they're good reviews, thoughtful reviews from customers who have positive experiences with your product or your business, then that viral piece of content will convert at a much higher rate. You might also hear from people that pay-per-click is the way to grow a business, and that also is an effective strategy. But if you are spending money to get traffic to your sales page and you've got 3 reviews, your conversion rate is going to be 50% less or even worse than if you've got a strong base of reviews. No matter what strategy you follow after this step, it will be more effective if you have a strong base of social proof, and that comes in the form of positive reviews. That's why we can't move on to the fun stuff, to the tactics, to the scaling, to the things that move quickly until we do this hard work. And most entrepreneurs are so eager to grow, so eager to scale, that they skip over this part of the process. And that's why they jump from tactic to tactic, and they always feel distracted, like they're not making any progress. A good analogy for this may be investing. Most people don't invest. Only 50% of people in the United States of America have any investments at all. Why don't they invest? They don't invest because they don't see a return today, tomorrow, next week, next month, maybe even for 6 months. But if they do it consistently over a long period of time, the compounding returns create financial freedom. Reviews and feedback work exactly the same way. Most entrepreneurs, specifically people who are building brands, following my process of getting to 100 sales a day, they're so eager for the fast results that they don't build the foundation of what will compound. Reviews are that foundation. Reviews do not make a big difference week 1, week 2, sometimes even week 4. But if you build a consistent base of reviews and you use them appropriately, which we'll talk about in this video, you will start the compounding process. And over a 2 to 3 month period, you'll be in striking distance of getting that first product to a consistent 25 sales a day. As some of you may know, a few years ago, I sold a business for $16 million. And we've documented that here on the channel. I actually bought that business back, and I'm running the exact same playbook that I am sharing with all of you on that business again, so that you can see that it still works. At the height of that business, it was doing about $1 million a month in sales. And we could see a direct impact when a product dropped from a 4.5-star rating on Amazon to a 4-star rating. And oh my goodness, if we drop below a 4-star rating, that was like death to a product. Nothing else worked. No amount of advertising, no amount of great endorsements from a celebrity could undo the doubt that's in a customer's mind when they see either a low number of reviews or they see a bad star rating like 3.5 stars. I remember telling a coach of mine at the time that my goal was to take that business to 100 sales a day, because I had run the numbers and I knew that that was $1 million business. I had never had $1 million business before, even though I had been an entrepreneur for over a decade at the time. I never had my $1 million thing. He asked me, well, how many sales are you doing every day right now? And I said, 5 sales a day. That gap of 95 sales a day, we're doing 5, I want to get to 100. That felt like it would take years. That felt like it would take forever. It felt like such a mountain to climb. There was only one thing that was within my control, and it was how much feedback I could get from my customers. So I started doing the manual work of calling them myself. This was at a time when Amazon would give you the phone numbers of customers, and I would just call them and ask them how their experience was. I would ask them how they were experiencing the product. And I got feedback that I never would have predicted. I got stories from people who were using my product for reasons that I didn't even think were possible. These were the kinds of insights that I never would have had I not been curious about the customer and focusing on the one thing that I could control, which was interactions with my customers and getting positive feedback from them. At the time, the number one seller in the category had about 1,000 reviews. We had 55, and we were so freaking proud of 55 reviews. In fact, I remember being on the phone with my business partner, Matt, and he said, "Can you believe that we've got 55 freaking reviews?" We worked so hard for those 55 reviews, and we were proud of them because it was just enough to convince a random click on the internet to consider us over the competitor that had 1,000 reviews. The person who had 1,000 reviews still beat us. They were still outselling us until we passed 100 reviews. And we often think that quantity of reviews is what tricks people into making a purchase. But what we found was that the quality of reviews and the process of regularly adding them and using them in a strategic way brought us to the number one product in the category, and we stayed there for years. It was that focus of getting quality reviews and using them in a strategic way that took that product to number one in the category. And that created the systems and the process for us to build a company that would eventually get to $1 million a month in revenue and sell for an 8-figure exit. That's why focusing on this right now, even when you're doing 3 to 5 sales a day, is so vital to the long-term success of your business. If you saw the last video in this series, we talked about launching your product. And up until that point, it's you pushing the momentum uphill. It's you grabbing for every inch of progress. It is you writing the emails. It's you making all of the decisions. So at that point in the process, you might think that the more you work, the more sales you make. You might think that the harder you push, the more your business will grow. But reviews are where we start to tip things in the other direction. When we get reviews and we get them consistently, we start to get what you might call passive sales. You start to get sales that trickle in without you working. This is the part of the process where you're starting to build something that works and runs without you, or at least makes sales without you. If you don't do this process, then you're always going to be in the grind trying to make sales happen, trying to manufacture them from thin air. But if you build the process for getting consistent reviews, you will start to build the foundation of sales that come in with or without you. And that's when you are freed up to build a business that has real value that one day you might sell for millions of dollars. Okay, Ryan, Mr. Podcast Man, Mr. Capitalism Man, I get it. Now, what do I do? How do I go throw 100 reviews on this thing? Just go do it. Stop asking me questions. Don't ask any more questions until you have 100 reviews. The way that you start is by starting with what you have. If you conducted a launch, like we talked about in step 3, and if you have some audience, even if it is a very small email list, which is what we talked about in step 2 of this process, then you've got something to work with. You have some group of people that you can contact and ask for feedback. Now, here is a lesson that has served me very well in my life. When you are asking for something, go for the easiest yes possible. When you are asking someone out, you don't lead by saying, "I'm looking for a wife. Do you think you'd make a good one?" That is not an easy yes. You go for a date, or you ask for the number. You go for the smallest yes possible, which opens up the possibility for future yeses later down the road. The same is true when it comes to reviews. As a side note, I do this with podcasts. I do this with speaking engagements. People ask me, how have I had Gary Vaynerchuk on my stage? How have I built a relationship with Gary Vee? How have I had the sharks from Shark Tank at our events? How have I built influencer relationships with some of the most impactful influencers in the world? I don't go right for the ask. I go for the easiest yes possible to start a relationship. Sometimes that means, I'd like to sponsor your podcast. Who should I talk to? Or I would like to have you at our event. Can you put me in touch with whoever manages your speaking calendar? That's an easy yes. If I get a response from someone, that is opening the door to a relationship. Reviews work exactly the same way. Sometimes when someone orders from us on Amazon, we'll send an email to them that says, hey, this is Ryan from Switch Supplements. I'm just reaching out to see that your order arrived on time. Could you reply to this email and just let me know? All I'm looking for is a yes. Why? Because that opens up the door for a further conversation. That is step one. In your case, if you just did a launch and you got some sales, the next step is for you to reach out to those customers who raised their hand and said, I'm gonna buy this product first. I was first in line to buy it. What's the easiest yes possible that you could use to open up a conversation or to open up a relationship with this person? You could ask them if they'd be willing to tell you a little bit about their experience with the product. You could ask them if their order arrived on time. You could even ask them if they would be willing to be on a VIP list to get discounts in the future. There's multiple ways that you can go for the easy yes, but we don't go for the review right away. We go for a simple yes. That looks a lot like relationship building, because that's what this is. This is a people business. And the more that you build a connection with people, the more that they are willing to support you in the form of a review, a feedback, a video testimonial, etc. So the first step is to start with what we have, and we go for the easiest yes possible. Okay, Ryan, well, I did not just have a $10,000 launch. So what do I do instead? I ask the question, what do you have to work with? Do you have a personal Facebook page with your own friends? Do you have a Facebook group that you are active in? Do you have 100 followers on social media? Do you have the ability to create stories where you are documenting the process just to build relationships with people who are watching? We start with what we have and we go for the easy yes possible. That's how we start the process. That may not get us to 100 reviews, but I can almost guarantee you that it will get you to the first 10. Let's get even more tactical for those of you who are overthinking this. I used to call my customers, and one time I saw that someone had reordered my product and they had bought 3 units of the product. And I was like, I wonder what prompted this person to come back and buy again. So I picked up the phone and I called him. His name was David. And I said, David, this is Ryan from Sheer Strength Labs. Sorry to bug you. I just noticed that you placed a second order and I just wanted to hear how your experience has been. And he said, Ryan, I love your product. The next few minutes of this conversation I wish had been recorded, because he then went on to tell me details about his bedroom life with his wife that I did not want to hear, but sure gave me some insights into my product. At the end of the call, I simply wrapped up by saying, David, thank you so much for chatting with me. I know it's weird when a company reaches out to you and asks for feedback. So if it's okay with you, I would like to give you a $25 credit for your next purchase on any product in our line. Would that be okay with you? That's an easy yes. He said, yeah, of course, I would love that. Great. I'm going to go ahead and email that over to you. What email address should I send that to? That's another easy yes. He's now said yes twice. That's when I go in for the kill. David, thank you so much for chatting with me today. You don't need to share all the details that you shared with me publicly, but it would mean the world to me if you would take 2.5 minutes and write a positive review on Amazon. Is that something you'd be open to? And he said yes. I went for 3 yeses, and that got us a review on Amazon that was very effective. That's not scalable, but it took 10 minutes. And I can do that every day until I've got 100 reviews. That's slow. It looks a lot like work, and there's way more tools that make this easier today. But if that was all that you did, you'd be at 100 reviews within a couple of months. And now we can get to the good stuff of building $1 million business. Now, I mentioned that there is some ninja magic that we can sprinkle on top of this to make things even more effective. And in this video, I'm gonna give you the ingredients for that recipe. In the next video, we'll put this into a system that will take you to 25 sales a day. But let me share with you what we do on top of just asking for the reviews. Here's a lesson that you should remember for the rest of your life. What gets celebrated gets repeated. Or if you want more of something, appreciate what you have of it. What does this have to do with reviews? Well, this was perfectly illustrated on a coaching call that we had inside of the 1%, where one of our members was saying how much he was struggling to get to 100 reviews. Here is what I told him.
Again, I'm still focusing on those reviews. They're so tough. They're tougher than I thought.
The best way at your stage to get reviews is to celebrate the fuck out of every review that you do get. Sometimes when you are just focused on getting reviews, you're thinking about the next review.
Yep.
Thank you. What's the next one? But the more that you really celebrate every review, and I mean stretch it as much as you can, the more that you celebrate the reviews that you get, the more you're creating an environment that encourages reviews.
Because I'm trying to get 100.
Ever heard you come on one of these calls and say, I got the best review.
Yeah,
I've never heard you say that. I've heard you talk about your challenges in getting reviews. I've heard you talk about when Amazon removes a review. I've heard you talk about how you don't like social media. I've heard you talk about all the bad things that are happening with you trying to get 100 reviews, but I've never heard you say, I got the best fucking review and I emailed it to my friends and I posted it on social because I was so fucking proud of this one review.
Yeah, I've never done
that. The minute that it flips to that, you'll get 100 reviews. The minute that you were like, thank you, person that I've been working with for the last year, for taking the time to post this review. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. I forwarded this to my friends and I sent it out to the email list because I was so proud of what you said because you told that story about the time that you were in pain and your knee hurt and you put the cream on. And that made me feel so good about what I'm building. When you have that energy, then other people will rally to support you. But the longer that you're sitting here talking about why it's not working, the more resistance you will have and the less energy you will have to doing the work. I want you to get excited about adding 3 reviews. And I want you to feel the actual pride of that progress. When you can feel that, that energy will go get more energy like that. But what's happening in your brain is you're saying 63, still not 100. 64, still not 100. 65, still not 100. So the closer you get, the worse you're feeling because you put all this hard work and you still haven't hit the goal. So you've got to flip it. Ben was at 63 reviews and he was only focused on the fact that he didn't have 100 reviews. He was only focused on the sales that he was not getting. So I encourage him to flip it and think about the 63 reviews that he already had. That's marketing gold. How much time had he spent appreciating those reviews? And I don't just mean in the airy-fairy sense, I'm going to meditate and appreciate my 63 reviews. I mean publicly thanking those people. I mean talking about how much those reviews mean to a business that is small and getting off the ground. The more that he appreciates the 63 people that went out and left a review, the more that other people see that and say, man, I want to support this guy. It's kind of weird how much he freaks out about one positive review. I'm going to leave a review and watch him freak out about that one. That's the energy that will take you to 100 reviews. When you've got a small base of people, but you appreciate the heck out of them, you will invite other people to do the same activity. When you are just grinding to close a gap, then you're operating from a taking mentality. You're no longer in this place of building relationship or going for easy yeses. You're not in a place of appreciating the customers that are there. You're actually energetically resenting them because you're not at your goal yet. That's a terrible place from which to build a business. So we start with what we have, and what we appreciate, what we celebrate gets repeated. And that takes us to the next step of this process. When you get a review, you milk it. You milk it for all you can. There are multiple ways to do this. Some people will screenshot a review, post it on social media, and then move on. I look at this as content. I look at this as an opportunity to turn it into video content. I look at this as a reason to email my list. I look at this as a reason to post multiple times. I might take that piece of feedback and create several different pieces of content around it and talk about how much it means to me, what it means to this person, and the difference that it made in their life so that it calls out to other people who are in a similar journey. When you start to practice milking every single review, you will realize that you never have a lack of content. You never have a lack of reviews. You only have a lack of creativity of the different ways that you can use what you have. And the more that you do that, the more that you will invite other people to leave a review. Guess what that does? It starts to create a pipeline of other people who want to leave you reviews. So when you are publicly celebrating the reviewers of your product like they're the hero in your journey, and you're milking that via content and broadcasting it, you're now encouraging other people to fall into that system. This makes going for the ask much easier, because if someone has seen how much you appreciate every review, when you go for the ask, they are much more likely to say yes. So to recap, we start with what we have. Then we go for the easiest yes possible, and we celebrate the heck out of every inch of progress. When we've done those things, now we can more actively reach out to people to make this process faster. That looks like manually reaching out to customers who have purchased. It also looks like sending DMs to the people who comment on your posts. It looks like sending messages to the people who are following your content. Do you see what we're doing here? We're cultivating connections with people that will leave us reviews, that might create content for us, and will be bought into the long-term vision of this company. This is when you're creating raving fans. This seems really slow at first, and it is. But if you build this habit now, it influences your culture for the growth of your business. And it creates a community of super fans that want to buy the second product and the third product. But it starts here. It starts before the scale. It starts before the growth. I don't think people realize the value of one really good review. One really good review becomes 2 pieces of content. One of those pieces of content becomes an ad that converts. Those conversions become customers that you then can reach out to and build relationships with. A few of those customers become average reviews. One of them becomes a great review that you turn into content that might become an ad. Do you see where this is going? We can start to build a system in which we are cultivating feedback and getting reviews every day. So we start with what we have. We go for easy yeses. We celebrate what is working, and then we start to make manual asks. From there, we can build a system, a flywheel that gets leads and customers and reviews ongoing every day until we're at 25 sales a day. But remember, if all that happened was you went out and grinded your way to 100 sales, that would be good enough for this process. That would be 100 pieces of feedback that we can use for content, use for ads, and start to build the flywheel. That's what we're gonna talk about in the next video. Once we're at 100 reviews, now we can move faster. Our pay-per-click traffic is gonna convert at a better rate. Our TikTok posts are going to convert into more customers. Our review rate is gonna be higher. We're gonna start to climb the organic rankings, and we can start the process of maintaining 25 consistent sales a day en route to building $1 million business. We'll talk about the system for doing that in the next video, so make sure that you are subscribed. If you watch this whole video and you wanna go through this process, all 8 steps, the best place for you to start is for you to download our free resources. The playbook to building a business that has 100 sales a day is written and ready for you at capitalism.com/playbook. When you go over there, you'll get the playbook to 100 sales a day. You'll also get a free 15-day course to implement the steps of the 8-step process, and you'll see some of our best case studies of people who did this well. So go over to capitalism.com/playbook. That is the best place for you to start your road to 1 million. I'm Ryan Daniel Moran with capitalism.com. I help entrepreneurs build $1 million businesses and have multi-million-dollar exits. This is the part that most people skip. So if you get good at it, you'll be ahead of almost everybody else. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.